The story begins with a young owl named Noctis, living peacefully with his family high up in a forest tree. His little owlets, Eglantine and Soren, were busy playing around the nest while Noctis told everyone it was finally time to sleep. But Soren's older brother Clud rolled his eyes and complained that he was tired of hearing stories about the legendary guardians, because to him, they were nothing more than made-up fairy tales no owl had ever actually seen. Noctis calmly explained that those stories were their history, and even if they hadn't witnessed it themselves, that didn't mean it wasn't real. Their mother Morella gently told the kids to settle down for the night. The family even lived alongside a friendly snake who curled up around the babies to keep them warm while they slept. Before falling asleep, little Eglantine asked Soren if he truly believed the stories about the metal beak. Soren said he did. According to the legends, the Guardians once fought a terrible war against evil owls known as the Pure Ones. The heroic Guardians barely survived the battle, but their greatest warrior, Lies of Keel, defeated the enemy king. Still, rumors claimed that the evil ruler survived with a shattered beak and now hid his face behind a metal mask. Clud mocked the stories and told Soren their father had filled his head with nonsense. He refused to believe any of it. The next morning, Clud proudly showed off his flying skills to his father. Soren joined in too, and surprisingly, he flew even better than Clud. The two brothers challenged each other to a race, and Soren easily won. Their mother Morella soon arrived and told them to head back inside. The boys begged to go hunting with their father, but Noctis refused, since they were still too young, and he flew off alone. Meanwhile, little Eglantine suddenly coughed up a pellet for the very first time. The family snake smiled and explained that every owl spits out pellets eventually. Later, Soren and Clud sneaked away to practice flying on their own because they still weren't fully grown. While training, Soren started talking about the Guardians again. Clud got annoyed and shoved him, causing both brothers to fall right out of the tree. Clud panicked and said they needed to climb back up quickly because the ground was dangerous. Suddenly, a wild creature attacked them, and before they could escape, two large sinister owls swooped down and grabbed them with their claws. Their names were Jat and Jut. Terrified, Soren asked where they were taking them, but Jat only scared him into silence. Along the way, Jat proudly showed off his evil look to Jut, who joked that he already looked terrifying enough. Just to frighten Soren even more, Jat purposely dropped him mid-air for a second before catching him again. Traveling with them was another owl named Grimble, who had kidnapped a young owl named Golfy. When Soren tried speaking to her, Grimble warned them to stay quiet. It turned out these owls worked for the ruthless leader Metal Beak, ruler of the Pure Ones, an army determined to destroy the Guardians and take control of Owl Society forever. Soon, the kidnapped owls arrived at a dark place called the St. Agolius Orphanage, where countless young owls were being held captive. Grimble announced that all of them were now orphans, and from this point on, they would live there and work for Metal Beak. Right after that, Naira appeared. She introduced herself as the ruler of St. Agolius and Metal Beak's queen. Naira coldly explained that they would miss their homes at first, but eventually they would get used to their new lives. Unlike the others, Soren and Gylfi bravely demanded to be sent back home. Naira became furious at their defiance and forced them into hard labor instead. Then she turned toward Clud and asked if he wanted to stand with his brother too. But Clud stayed silent and looked away. Deep down, he was jealous of Soren for always being the better flyer, and instead of supporting him, he chose to abandon his own brother. Soon after, guards dragged Soren and Gylfi away to meet Jat. While the rest of the young owls were ordered to sleep, Gylfi quietly tells Soren that if they fall asleep, the Pure Ones will brainwash them and turn them into slaves forever. She says they need to escape, and since she can navigate using the stars, she's sure she can lead them back home. But Soren reminds her that neither of them really knows how to fly yet, so escaping won't be easy. That night, Jat puts all the young owls into a trance, turning them into obedient workers. But Soren and Gylfi secretly stay awake and only pretend to be hypnotized so no one suspects them. Unfortunately, Grimble notices what they're doing. Meanwhile, Naira begins selecting certain owls to become soldiers for the Pure Ones, and Clud is one of the chosen few. Naira proudly tells them that soon every owl kingdom will bow before them, and together they will rebuild the Pure Ones' empire. As part of their training, Naira teaches the selected owls how to fight and fly like warriors. Elsewhere, Jat and Jut force the enslaved owls to sort through piles of pellets and collect tiny metal fragments hidden inside them. Jut hands Soren one of the metal pieces and orders him to place it into a giant pile nearby. But as Soren approaches, he suddenly feels a strange energy energy, pulling him toward the metal. Before he can react, a bat grabs the fragment and tosses it into the growing collection. At the same time, Metal Beak explains his evil plan to another owl named Alamir. Once enough metal is gathered, they will create a powerful magnetic weapon, capable of trapping and controlling their enemies. In return, Metal Beak promises to make Alamir ruler of the Western Kingdom and the Great Gahul Tree. Not long after, Grimble secretly takes Soren and Gylfi away from the others. To their surprise, he reveals that he wants to help them escape. He explains that he was once a noble owl too, but when the Pure Ones attacked his kingdom and captured his family, he was forced to obey them and commit terrible acts. Grimble then asks the two young owls to show him how well they can fly. They do their best, even though they're still inexperienced. Meanwhile, Naira releases a small bird and tells the trainee soldiers that whoever catches it first will earn the honor of meeting Metal Beak himself. All the owls race after it, but Clud catches the bird before anyone else. Naira praises him and tells him that his brother is brave too. Then she takes Clud with her to visit Soren. At the same time, Grimble continues teaching Soren and Gylfi how to truly fly. He tells them that if they ever want to make it home alive, they must learn quickly. When Soren admits they don't know where to go, Grimble gives them directions. He says they need to travel to the island of Holmir, and deep within its ancient forests stands the Great Gahul Tree, home of the legendary Guardians. If anyone can help them save Clud and return home, it's the Guardians. Grimble sadly says he can't join them because he must stay behind and free his own family first. But before they can escape, Nira arrives with Clud and overhears everything. Nira immediately orders her soldiers to capture Soren and Gylfi. Grimble bravely fights the guards to protect the young owls and tells them to run while they still can. Soren desperately calls for Clud to come with them, but Clud refuses. Deep inside, he has started liking the power and respect the Pure Ones are offering him. Naira angrily tells Grimble that he's attacking his own queen, but Grimble fearlessly answers, "You are not my queen." Clud tries to stop Soren, but Soren and Gylfi finally manage to take flight and escape into the night sky. Naira attempts to chase after them, but Grimble blocks her path. Furious, Naira kills Grimble herself before continuing the pursuit. Thankfully, Soren and Gylfi escape the soldiers and keep flying until they realize no one is following them anymore. For the first time, they feel truly free, and both are that they've finally learned how to fly on their own. Back at St. Agolius, Naira tells Clud that because he chose not to escape with his brother, the Pure Ones will reward him with strength and power. But in return, he must prove his loyalty. Clud reveals that he has a younger sister named Eglantine, who would make a strong recruit, and Naira orders him to bring her to them. Meanwhile, Soren and Gylfi stop at a farm to hunt for food. There they meet another owl named Digger. Gylfi explains that they need a safe place to rest and that they're trying to reach Hulmir. Digger warns them that reaching Hulmir means crossing a dangerous ocean filled with deadly creatures. Soren says they only need somewhere to hide because Gylfi is injured. Digger kindly takes them to his home, where Soren is shocked to discover the same snake who once lived with his family back at the tree. The snake tells Soren that she searched everywhere for him and Clud, but could never find them. Another owl named Twilight, who lives with Digger, jokes that the snake was supposed to be his dinner. Soren quickly stops him and says, "She's not dinner, she's my nanny." The snake begs Soren to return home, but Soren explains that the Pure Ones captured both him and Clud is still trapped with them. He says the only way to save him is to find the Guardians. Digger then tells Soren that Twilight knows the way to Hulmir, and he agrees to guide them across the dangerous journey ahead. Meanwhile, Nira presents Clud and the other new recruits to Metal Beak himself. She proudly tells him that she has brought him fresh soldiers for the Pure Ones army. Metal Beak stares at Clud and tells him that they are superior to all other owls because they are the Pure Ones. The next day, Soren and his friends continue their journey toward Hulmir. But while flying across the wilderness, a group of crows suddenly attacks them and kidnaps the snake nanny, carrying her away in their claws. Twilight quickly rallies the others, and together they fight off the crows and rescue her just in time. Afterward, Twilight finally guides Soren and the group to Hulmir. There, a small echidna suddenly appears in front of them. Somehow, he already knows exactly who Soren and his friends are. Soren remembers hearing stories from his father and says that echidna creatures are known for helping travelers find the Great Gahul Tree. Echidna tells them that if they want to reach the legendary tree, they must fly between two specific stars in the night sky and never drift outside their path. He explains that they've already completed half the journey. Following his directions, Soren and the others others continue flying between the stars, but soon they get caught in a violent snowstorm. The freezing wind becomes so strong that Digger's wings begin to ice over, and he starts falling straight toward the ocean below. Soren rushes to save him, but before he can reach him, a powerful owl swoops down and catches Digger. Her name is Baron, one of the legendary guardians. Baron takes Soren and his friends to the great Gahul tree, the hidden home of the guardians. Once there, Soren tells everyone everything about the Pure Ones and Metalbeak's growing army. Baron believes him immediately and tells her husband that the Pure Ones may truly have returned. Her husband is the king of the Guardians himself. However, another guardian named Alamir steps forward and claims Soren's story sounds exaggerated and unbelievable. He warns the king not to trust a child's tale. Just then, an old owl named Ezelrib bursts into laughter and mocks Alamir, calling him a coward for refusing to believe the truth. Alamir argues back, but the king silences them both and says they need proof. He orders Alamir to take a group of elite guardians and investigate the Pure One's hideout for themselves. Alamir leaves with his soldiers to search for the truth. Afterward, Ezelrib warmly praises Soren and Gylfi, saying he has never seen owls so young show such courage by risking their lives to reach Gahul. Another guardian owl named Otalissa quietly tells Soren not to pay too much attention to Ezelrib's strange personality. She then explains how guardian training works, and soon Soren and the others begin their own training to become future guardians. Meanwhile, back at St. Agolius, Metalbeak addresses his army. He tells the young owls that long ago, a coward named Lise attacked him and stole his kingdom. He explains that the scars from that battle are the reason he wears his metal mask today, and that mask has become the symbol of the Pure Ones. Elsewhere, little Eglantine begs Clud to take her back to Soren, but Clud coldly tells her that Soren is weak while they are Pure Ones now. Even so, Eglantine still wants to go home. Clud lies and promises her they'll leave tomorrow. Once she falls asleep, Clud and Nyra secretly place her under the Pure One's mind control, turning her into another slave. Back at Gahul, Ezelrib trains Soren and the others in advanced flying techniques. He tells Soren that true flight is about feeling the wind and becoming one with the air itself. Soren closes his eyes and focuses completely, and for a moment he experiences the joy of real flight. But he loses control and nearly crashes into the ocean before Ezelrib catches him at the last second. At the same time, Alamir and his guardians finally arrive near the Pure One's fortress. Spotting several enemy owls, Alamir orders his soldiers to attack immediately. The guardians charge forward, but it's a trap. The owls they attacked were only decoys, and the real Pure Ones ambush them from behind, striking the guardians down one by one. Later, Soren finds Ezelrib writing stories and asks if he was truly the one who wrote about the legendary Battle of the Ice Claws. Ezelrib proudly admits that he did, and reveals that he was also the commander of the Guardian army during that war. Soren's eyes widen in amazement. He realizes that Ezelrib is actually the legendary Lies of Kiel himself, the greatest Guardian hero in history. Soren excitedly says he always imagined Lies looking more heroic and majestic. Ezelrib laughs loudly and says, "What did you expect? Some shiny, perfect hero?" He explains that war leaves scars on everyone, and the only reason Soren even knows these stories is because his father cared enough to teach him the legends of the Guardians. Soon after, Alamir returns to the great Gahul tree, carrying two badly injured owls. One of them is Eglantine. Alamir tells the king that the Pure Ones attacked them, but claims he managed to fight them off. He also reveals that countless owls are being enslaved by the enemy. Hearing this, the king orders Bubo, the guardian blacksmith, to sharpen every weapon and prepare the army for war. Soren immediately begs Ezelrib to let him join the battle, but Ezelrib refuses and tells him to stay behind and take care of Eglantine instead. Soon, the guardians fly off to war. Ezelrib and his soldiers launch surprise attacks against the Pure Ones from the shadows, striking fast and disappearing before the enemy can react. Meanwhile, Soren visits Eglantine and happily tells her that their father's stories were true all along. The Guardians, Lies, and the Great Gahul Tree were all real. Eglantine finally wakes up and tells Soren the terrible truth. Clud has joined the Pure Ones. At first, Soren can't believe it. He says at least Alamir managed to rescue her, but Eglantine quietly reveals that Alamir didn't save her at all. Clud handed her over to him himself. That's when Soren realizes Alamir has secretly been working with Metal Beak the entire time. Meanwhile, Azelrib and the Guardians continue battling the Pure Ones, and they also discover Alamir's betrayal. Soon after, Soren and Gylfi follow the stars back to the Pure One's fortress, where they witness Metal Beak using his terrifying magnetic weapon to destroy Guardian soldiers. At the same time, Alamir proudly tells Metal Beak and Nyra that the Guardians should suffer before they die. Nyra then summons an army of bats, and the creatures swarm toward the Guardians, attacking them from every direction. Clud suddenly notices that Soren has arrived alongside the Guardians. Soren quickly tells Twilight and Digger to hold off the bats while he pushes forward. The two owls bravely dive into battle against the flying creatures. Meanwhile, Metal Beak kills Alamir himself, because now that the betrayal is complete, he no longer has any use for him. During the chaos, Soren notices the forest nearby is burning. He grabs a kettle filled with flaming embers and flies directly toward the magnetic machine powering Metal Beak's weapon. Risking his life, Soren dumps the burning coals into the machine, causing it to explode in flame and completely shut down the deadly magnetic energy. Furious, Metal Beak orders all Pure Ones to attack the Guardians. Azelrib tells Soren to stay back with his friends and protect the enslaved owls while the Guardians handle the battle. Then the final war begins. Baron and Azelrib fight side by side against the Pure Ones as the skies erupt into a massive, brutal battle between the Guardians and Metal Beak's army. Eventually, Azelrib confronts Metal Beak himself. Metal Beak growls, "Lies. It's been a long time. I still have old scores to settle with you." Then he launches straight at him. Azelrib slams Metal Beak to the ground, but before he can finish him, Nyra attacks Azelrib from behind. Elsewhere, Soren faces Clud one last time. Clud attacks his brother and tells him he's still living in childish Guardian fantasies. But Soren answers that those dreams are exactly what gave him strength and led him all the way to Ga'Hoole. Clud bitterly says that Metal Beak believed in him more than anyone else ever did, and that's why he chose the Pure Ones. The two brothers clash fiercely in the middle of the burning battlefield. During the fight, Clud's wing gets badly damaged, and suddenly he begs Soren for help, reminding him that they're brothers. Soren reaches down and tries to pull him to safety, but Clud betrays him one last time and attempts to drag Soren into the fire instead. In the struggle, Clud loses his grip and falls straight into the flames below. At the same time, Nyra and Metal Beak together overpower Azelrib and nearly kill him, but then Soren swoops in and attacks both of them. Metal Beak grabs Soren tightly in his claws, trying to crush him, but Soren breaks free at the last second. While Azelrib battles Nyra, Soren grabs a burning branch and drives it directly into Metal Beak's chest. The evil ruler screams as the flames consume him, and Metal Beak is finally destroyed. Seeing their leader dead, Nyra escapes with the surviving Pure Ones, retreating into the darkness. The Guardians win the battle, and Soren becomes a hero to every Owl Kingdom. Later, Soren tells his father that all the stories he once told were true after all. In the end, Soren officially becomes a Guardian soldier and proudly repeats the Guardian Oath, promising that they will always protect the weak, stand against evil, and keep fighting darkness wherever it rises. Soren then tells us that although Nyra escaped, and Clud's fate remains unknown, the story of the Guardians is far from over. The younger owls beg for more stories, and Azelrib smiles, before saying that the next chapter will be even greater than the last. Finally, Soren and his friends soar together through the skies of Ga'Hoole, bringing the story to a powerful and hopeful ending.